Portions of the following program may have been pre-recorded.
The following program's views, claims, or ideas may not reflect those of WSRR Radio or StylesRebelRadio.com.
In the Steel City, where the rivers align, Lucas and Dom crossing the battle line. Weekday mornings, it's a sportscast scene behind enemy lines in the heart of the dream. Every play discussed, every game analyzed. Cleveland's pride seen through Pittsburgh eyes. Behind enemy lines, where the passion ignites. Cleveland and Pittsburgh battling in sight. Lucas and Dom rise with the sun. Every morning at 10, let the games be fun. Tune into the waves, feel the thrill unfold. Behind enemy lines, stories to be told.
Welcome back to Behind Enemy Lines right here on WSRR Radio, nationally local, meaning we play your bands coast to coast, your local bands on a national stage, just like this show, Behind Enemy Lines, a local show, your Cleveland sports talk show from Pittsburgh, played on a national stage right here on WSRR Radio. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Luke Strazio, joined as always by Dom Farrell. We are recording this on December 11th at 1:28 p.m. on the North Shore of Pittsburgh. We're getting hit with some nice flurries of snow.
Beautiful.
Really getting into the Christmas spirit here, seeing some flakes fall. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous winter afternoon here in Pittsburgh. The NFL winding down. The playoff race is totally on. The college football playoff is set. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot of future implications for a lot of teams that are at the bottom of the barrel, such as our Cleveland Browns. The Steelers right back in the hunt for the division title
At the top.
in the AFC North. That's
They're
right.
running
They're
it.
at the top, the front runner for it after a big win in Baltimore. We had a lot of stuff happen in the football world this weekend, and you're going to hear about all of it right here on Behind Enemy Lines. Thank you guys for joining us. Dom, what's your number one story from this past week of football?
Of football. I mean, if we're just going NFL, that's a
There's
good
a lot
question.
that happened.
Yeah, there was.
I
I
feel
mean,
like this week there was a ton that happened.
honestly, like my biggest takeaway from this weekend happened on the primetime game. I think it was Monday night. The Eagles playing the Chargers.
Is your takeaway that James P. Sullivan is an absolute stud in the
That-
Monsters Inc. broadcast?
That was one of the takeaways. But the biggest one is that the NFL just is not as good as it was 10 years ago.
No.
Jalen Hurts is the biggest reason why.
4 picks and a fumble.
Yeah.
Didn't get it done for you?
5 turnovers in that game. And just watching him, I mean, where he's definitely like a top 5 quarterback currently in the NFL.
I don't know about that.
Well, before the season, he was like, even last year, is like even the top 3 conversation for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I think that's I think anyone making that argument isn't actually turning on the games because like you look at his team, and I feel like we had this conversation going into the year. Like he might not even be a top 5 guy on his own offense. Like
Yeah.
really, I think he might be the 5th or 6th best player on his own offense. I don't think that there's any way that anyone now. Is he a good quarterback? Yes. Is he going to win a lot of games because they have a really good roster and really good coaching and he can put them in good situations? Yes. But I don't think anyone should be arguing for him as for top 5 quarterback, especially after that performance.
Yeah, but even with that, like, it's hard to think of other quarterbacks who are better than him outside of Mahomes, Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson is questionable.
Justin Herbert.
Also questionable. That
Really?
guy he's all over the place sometimes. Personally, I like Herbert a lot, but just like a consensus of NFL fans, I think most people would rank Jalen Hurts within the top 5.
I'd give him top 10. I don't know about top 5.
Easily top 10 right now.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is that I was just curious, so I looked up starting quarterbacks in the year of 2014, and I named like at least 12 quarterbacks before I get to where Jalen Hurts is currently.
Yeah.
It just showed how good
You think
the
the
quarterbacks
fall off
used to
of
be.
quarterback play has been?
I mean, I'll read you some of these names. Peyton Manning with the Broncos,
Of course.
unbelievable. Aaron Rodgers with the Packers,
Uh-huh. Tom Brady.
Jalen Hurts isn't even close. You have Drew Brees on the Saints, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson on the Seahawks, in his prime, much better. Andrew Luck in his prime, better than Jalen Hurts.
Yes, 100%.
Colin Kaepernick, I mean, he had a very short prime, but that window, I think he was better than Jalen Hurts. Tony Romo, questionable. I don't agree with that one. Philip Rivers with the Chargers. Matt Ryan with
That's
the
another
Falcons.
big story from this weekend. We can touch on that later, but go
for
ahead.
sure. Cam Newton with the Panthers. And then that's where it starts getting a little weird. Matt Stafford with the Lions. Ben Roethlisberger
I'd say
with the
Stafford with the
Steelers.
Lions was definitely better than Jalen Hurts is now. Same
Yeah.
thing with Roethlisberger.
Flacco
Now,
with the Ravens.
I
mean,
do
we're-
think that, like you mentioned, you were watching a game. You were watching our boy Bart Simpson on YouTube. If you guys don't know about Bart Simpson on YouTube, we might have shouted him out on this show before,
I
but
hope we have.
he'll just post these like early 2000s and really
Any-
games from any time in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just entire game footage. So if you're ever bored on a whatever night and you want to throw something on the background,
Just look
put
up
on like
Bart
the
Simpson.
2007 Broncos versus Saints game that Bart Simpson will have on his YouTube channel.
If you look up Bart Simpson NFL, you'll see, I mean, he's got playlists too. He's got like just a 2016 Patriots playwist.
Oh, yeah.
So you can find anything.
You can find
You
a lot
really
on
want.
there. But I mean, you were saying that you think that I think you specifically texted me, we used to watch gods in this league, and now we have to see Jalen Hurts or someone. I forget who the exact person you had brought that up about.
Yeah,
But I do think that nostalgia plays into it a little bit.
for
Like,
sure.
And I think that as close as that was like 10, 15 years ago, like I do still think that the level of competition has raised up now from then. Like I think that DBs and stuff are probably better now, and maybe even coaching's a lot better, and like I think that the entirety of football is growing and evolving
Yeah,
to where it's different, and they make it harder on quarterbacks.
definitely.
But like I don't know, I think that it's a fully nostalgia take to say that like quarterback play has fallen off of a cliff, because I think it's just you're watching the highlights and stuff, and you're thinking about the stats and whatever rather than seeing the entirety of a game.
Yeah.
in some cases at least.
I mean, I'd be curious, like the best.
or the game that you do watch is like their career game, and it's like you don't realize that like in week 7 of that year, like he also had like 112 yards. Whatever quarterback it is.
Yeah, that's
112
true.
yards and 2 picks. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I mean, you're all good. I was just curious, so I looked up the all-time passer rating leaders, like per season. And Lamar Jackson in 2024, he did have a really good season. It's the 4th best as a quarterback rating all time. But after that, it's a lot of these guys that I just mentioned. The first 2 are Aaron Rodgers, then Peyton Manning, Nick Foles, Ryan Tannehill. I mean, these aren't guys that you'd say are like amazing, but the quarterback rating does show something. You aren't seeing guys like Drake May. They're saying he's the MVP. He's having unbelievable
Drake
season.
May.
He's
Yay
not
for May.
He's not even gonna be like a top 35 QB rating probably at the end of the season.
I don't know. I think the game's changed a lot. I just think it's a lot different now, and it's a lot harder on quarterbacks, and that's what they're planning to do, is to make it harder for quarterbacks. And I do think that it's working overall. In all honesty,
But it doesn't help the product.
Speaking of quarterbacks, there's one big quarterback that we need to talk about this week. Let's get to the Shador talks.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Philip Rivers
right off the bat. No, Phillip's an afterthought. He's not even going to start. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's not looking like.
I don't think it. I think it's more of a feel-good story than anything. I'm sure he will play a little bit at some point this year. I wouldn't doubt it, but whatever. We can talk about that a little bit
How
later.
bad does Riley Leonard and
Yeah,
Brett
really.
Ripien have to be for them to sign a 42-year-old or 44-year-old man?
He's older than like 3 head coaches in
Yeah.
the league right now. It's hilarious.
And same person who's 44 right now, Troy Polamalu. And the thought of him like being on the field right now is sad,
Yeah.
because even like 10 years ago when he was towards the end of the career, it was rough. But I know that Tom Brady right now, he's seeing the Buccaneers helmet, he's seeing the Patriots helmet, and it's speaking to him.
Yeah.
Some say like the Green Goblin mask on Twitter.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with
But Shedeur.
Rivers. I mean, he could barely move when he was 5 years ago when he last played. So
With the Colts, too.
Yeah, with the Colts, exactly. So we'll see what happens in Indianapolis with that. But Shedeur, I think it's a hilarious Browns take. It's a very Cleveland response to lose to the worst team in the league, and all the fans be like, guys, we have our franchise quarterback. Now, I mean, obviously, you give up 31 points. The defense, who's looked great all year, looked really bad in this one against a really bad team, which obviously you're not happy about. But at the end of the day, they did still lose. And, you know, you can't really blame Shedeur for that. He looked really good, over 350 passing yards.
Yeah.
What was it, three passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown? I'm very impressed with him. He's looked better each and every week. I think that as of right now, he's done enough to show that if the season ended today, I would say let's stick with him for next year.
Mhm.
He's got however many games left, and they named him to be the starter for the remainder of the season.
Yeah.
It's also looking like Deshaun Watson will not play now for the remainder of the season, which I'm happy for Shedeur, because I think that, you know, that'll give him more of an opportunity.
Yeah. And he earned it.
Yeah, I think as of right now, he's earned it. And I think that there's so many holes on this team where it's like we can take other stuff in the draft next year instead of going for a quarterback and see what happens with Shedeur. The stuff that's really impressed me most with him over the last couple weeks is the stuff that you can coach. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, like so-and-so, like they have the things that you can't coach. Like he has some of the things that you can't coach where like he's, you know, comfortable in the pocket for the most part. He throws an accurate ball. It's a catchable ball, like stuff like that. But the stuff you can coach is like being smart with stepping up in the pocket instead of going out trying to run outside, throwing the ball away in bad situations, which he showed he did a couple of times this week. There was once where he threw a really bad pick where he should have just thrown the ball away, and like that worried me. But the like going through his progressions and just hitting the check down, and like that ending up in a positive play or getting a first down, like that small stuff that you can coach that like showed to me he's coachable to where he can adjust to an NFL system.
Yeah.
Was the stuff that really excited me. Not the wide open throw to Jerry Jeudy, not wide open, but whatever, like a good ball on a post route where he's open to Jerry Jeudy. Like I like that, and it's exciting, but also it's like, you know, I would hope that any first or second stringer in the league could make that throw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's good that he made it. If he missed it, I wouldn't be happy, obviously, but like that's not the thing that fires me up. It's more of the mental stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, all that. It looked
it
like
factor.
he looked comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has the it factor.
It's close, though. And I'm going to be completely honest. I did not watch the Titans versus Browns game. I thought this one should have been flexed to 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
I don't think anyone should have been subjected to watch this, but I try to stay in tune with the Browns faithful, like on Twitter, see what they're saying. And after this one, there was a lot less negative feedback, I think, on the team. I think everyone is kind of on the same page as you. It just wasn't their day. Like you said, the defense, worst game of the season for them so far.
I think the biggest criticism in this game came, one, with the defense, like obviously, but I feel like people weren't too upset with it because it's like they've played great all year. You know, you're gonna have one. It's the NFL. You're gonna have some bad games, like whatever. Now they should have played better, but whatever. The biggest criticism was with some of the play calling and like with the coaching decisions, like going for two to tie the game at the end and putting like the Wildcat in when Shedeur's been playing great. Like he had, like I said, he had over 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, a really impressive running touchdown. And then you take him off the field in the biggest play of the game that can send it to overtime.
Yeah.
So like I feel like that was one of the big things that everyone was upset with. Like Brown's Twitter was all over Stefanski.
Fired up.
They're ready for Stefanski to go.
They might be a little upset in Stefanski, but I know one thing they're happy with is the GM and the front office and how they've handled the draft. The last 2 seasons, honestly, I just saw this graphic. The Cleveland Browns picks among their rookie class. Mason Graham, he leads all rookie defensive tackles in tackles.
Yeah.
You have Judkins, who leads all rookie running backs in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. Schlesinger leads all rookies in tackles.
He's going to be the defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah. Harold Fannin Jr., second among rookie tight ends in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns.
Leading the team in receiving yards.
Him and Shador are also both nominated for Rookie of the Week this
Mm-hmm.
week, which is big. Sampson, who's second among rookie running backs in receiving yards. So you get that thread as well. And then lastly, Dylan Gabriel throws left-handed.
That's his.
That's his note on there.
Love that. Okay. I don't hate that. Yeah, I mean, I think they obviously drafted great. I think that they brought up an interesting stat in the Titans game that I was encouraged by, that like I almost think more teams that are rebuilding should look at this stat, that they said the Browns are number 1 in the league on rookies taking snaps. Like they have the most rookies that have taken rookie snaps. They're number 1 in the league, and I think the Titans were like number 2 or 3. But like I really think that's a good stat to look at, because like even if you're not winning games, like you're really developing these guys, which is kind of why I don't want them to fire Stefanski yet, because I think it could be really good to like keep this group of rookies together for at least their entire rookie contract with the same coach, develop them. Once there's a coach fired and there's that turnover, like things sometimes can kind of get reset a little bit, like in development, where you're in a different system, then you're with different coaches. They might teach techniques a little bit different. I would like to like say we have this good young core. We have this coach who is working with them from their rookie year. I kind of would like to see that relationship like continue to grow until like as long as we can take it at least. And of course, if we don't win games next year, I think that he's done for. But I think that there's promise for the future right now.
Yeah.
And I think that the possibility of hiring a new coach might throw things off.
Yeah, I think it would reset kind of what you guys have been building.
And I'm not thrilled with any of the coaching candidates either. They're like, there's not a Ben Johnson like from last year. There's no like one OC that's like really thrilling anyone that seems like they're going to get a job. I don't know.
It's a good point. I wonder who are like the front runners right now to be the next head coach in the NFL. Maybe some to look at during the break. But yeah, I think getting rid of Stefanski would really just bring you guys back to what you started
it
with.
Might throw
at
a
the
wrench
beginning
into
of the season.
things.
But they're moving, they're rolling. On paper, it's not great, but I think watching the team and feeling the way that the mood has changed around this team is promising.
Yeah, it's crazy that I do feel like this is the best that we've felt all year pretty much as Browns fans, except for maybe when we beat the Packers.
Yeah.
When they beat the Packers. Sorry, I didn't mean to say we. I hate when I do that.
Us.
But when they beat the Packers, I think people were feeling good. But I feel like this is the best that Browns fans have felt about the season and the team moving forward, and it was off of a loss to the worst team in the league. Now, that is also my reservations about Shador Sanders, which I've said a lot in some group messages and things. Like he looked good this game. He's looked better each game, I think. But you look at it, he's played 2 of the 3, or of his 3 games, 2 of them have been against teams that are going to have top 5 picks next year. Right now, the Titans were in line. I actually don't know after this win, but they were in line to have the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
The Raiders are in line to have a top 5 pick. The Niners are good, but and obviously I think that might have been his worst game. Honestly, maybe that or the Raiders game. This obviously was his best game against the Titans, but the jury's still out. He has however many games left this year. I think this is going to be his tryout to determine whether or not he can be our guy.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good, like if he can be next year, there's a lot of good mojo in Cleveland though, moving forward with like a new stadium's going to get built.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's going to be money to toss around. Like maybe we'll, be a destination zone with a new high tech, top of the line stadium.
They're definitely
it could be interesting in Cleveland.
Yeah, they're investing in the future, and I think even with like where they landed the draft, if it's between 1 and 5, I think no matter what, they'll be able to get the guy they want, and I think that's Carnell Tate. I think they want a wide receiver. And I think a lot of the teams that are in that
should take a wide receiver.
Yeah, and I think the teams that are in that 1 through 5 are all going to be going for quarterbacks, except the Titans. But I don't see the Titans taking a wide receiver this year.
I don't know. I think that the Browns need a receiver and they need offensive linemen. I would like Caden Proctor from Alabama, the left tackle. They desperately need like a number one left tackle who's solid. They also need probably some guards and really they need to replace the entire offensive line. In all honesty, I would like to see what moves they make in the offseason in terms of free agency, because I think that's pretty much their number one concern right now, that and wide receiver. So I would love to see some big free agency signings, and then a Carnell Tate draft would be really dynamite for me.
I think it's likely, and I think, and I've said it a few weeks in a row, but a full off season with Shedeur being the guy, it's going to be big for this team.
Yeah, my one thing with him moving forward though is, like I said, he made good decisions in this one, and I think he's obviously confident, but I'm almost worried about him getting overly confident and then because of that deciding to not make good decisions. Like right now he's like, I'm a rookie in my third start, so I'm going to throw this away. But once he's a second or third year guy and he's had a little bit of success, instead of throwing it away, is he going to try to fit it in that window? Is he going to think he can throw into double coverage? Is he going to think he has a bigger arm than he does? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll see. I almost think
get a little gutsy.
There's a possibility that he could have regression in the decision-making process. But we'll see how that shapes out for Shedeur Sanders. And you could see how this show shapes out after this next break. I'm Lucas Durazio from WSRR's Behind Enemy Lines, the Cleveland sports talk show from Pittsburgh. Living in Pittsburgh, I've gotten to familiarize myself with a lot of hard-working, locally owned brands. And I'm here to talk about one of the best in not only Pittsburgh, but the nation in Hellbender Vinyl. With Christmas right around the corner, I know some of our local bands and artists are looking for that special holiday release this season. Maybe a limited holiday album run on red and green vinyl? Whatever the occasion, Hellbender Vinyl has got you covered. Hellbender is Pittsburgh's first and only custom vinyl record pressing plant and is one of America's most trusted. With a wide variety of colors and designs, Hellbender Vinyl is second to none when it comes to making your next album release something special. Visit hellbendervinyl.com today to get started. And don't forget, all customers receive 5 free test presses at no additional charge. Hellbent on quality, hellbent on service, hellbendervinyl.com.
Hi, this is Melissa,
And hey, it's Matt.
coming at you from Synergy Music Studio.
We are a recording and production studio located on the south side near Chicago.
Check us out online at synergymusicstudio.com. We offer recording, mixing, and mastering.
And follow us on Instagram at Synergy Music Studio. Rock hard.
Welcome back to Behind Enemy Lines right here on WSRR Radio, brought to you by our proud partners at Hellbender Vinyl. Hellbender is Pittsburgh's first and only custom vinyl record pressing plant, one of America's most trusted record pressing plants, perfect for local and independent artists just like the ones we play here on WSRR Radio who want to take their album release to the next level. Don't settle for a bunch of ones and zeros floating around the internet. Have a physical album release with Hellbender Vinyl. Hellbent on quality, hellbent on service, hellbendervinyl.com. Check them out as soon as you can. There's no reason to wait. You can have us on in the background while you're looking at hellbendervinyl.com. Why aren't you doing that? Why are you on your phone and not looking up hellbendervinyl.com? Please do it now.
For Pete's
Dom, for Pete's sake, why aren't you on hellbendervinyl.com? Dom, big win this week
Huge.
for Aaron Rodgers and the Stillers. Still rocking the cast on the left wrist is Rodgers, but didn't seem to affect him too much today. Chucking up some bombs to DK. It looked like they got that connection back, him and DK Metcalf. Huge win in enemy territory over the Ravens.
Behind enemy lines.
That's right. They were behind enemy lines. A little different enemy line, but they were behind it. In enemy territory, this game was for the lead in the AFC North, and they come home with the victory. What'd you see in this one, and why are you completely back on the Steelers train? The Steelers fandom is so up and down.
It is.
1 week they might as well tank, sell everyone's, fire Tomlin, and now you guys are winning the Super Bowl again.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it is a little different right now than it's been in the past. Like usually if we won this game, I would have been all the way back. I would say nothing's stopping us. We're winning the Super Bowl. But the way that the Steelers played in the second half, gave me room to be a little concerned. Now, you mentioned it, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, they were balling. DK had his best game as a Steeler by far, looked really good. But in the second half, the offense really couldn't get anything going. They started playing very conservative, and the Ravens were able to squeak their way back into this game and had a chance to win it. A lot of questionable calls by the officials in this game where a lot of Ravens fans feel like they got done dirty, and I hate to agree with them, but the referees definitely did not help the Steelers' chances or help the Ravens' chances in this one. But the only thing that gets me back on board that makes me think the Steelers can win a Super Bowl, and I hate to say it, I hate to even think that they have a chance, but
Oh God.
the fact that the AFC is really bad this year, that they could beat most of these teams. There's really one team in the AFC that I think they'd lose to 99 times out of 100, and that's the Bills.
Yeah.
I think they'd beat the Patriots again. I think they'd hand them another loss.
I don't know about that. The Patriots are a completely different team now than they were in week 3.
They are. They've rattled off 10
right?
wins
That's when
in a
they
row.
played them week 3?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've rattled off 10 wins in a row since then. But I do think that this team, I think the Steelers defense, if they were on one, they could rattle this team. They could win that game for sure.
What about if they don't have TJ Watt? What's the big update on him? Go ahead.
TJ Watt is in the hospital right now, had some discomfort.
This
in
came out
his-
20 minutes before we started recording? you
Yeah.
said?
So he's been in the hospital, I think, the last few days due to uncomfort or discomfort in his lung.
Uncomfort. I like
He's
that.
uncomfortable.
He's
But
suffering from uncomfort.
he's questionable for Monday. It happened during treatment. So I think that's good news, I guess, that it wasn't it's not like some illness or anything like that. It seems like a trainer may have hit him with a Tyrod Taylor type of situation, but not 100% sure. But he's questionable for Monday night against the Dolphins. That's another game that I think they win fairly easily. I don't think Tua is going to be able to play in this type of weather.
Tua and the Dolphins have rattled off 5 wins in a row, though.
Dolphins
They
have
are
looked-
one of the hotter teams in the league right now. They've Mike McDaniel has woken up and saved his job.
Yeah.
At least for another year.
I mean, outside of the Broncos and the Patriots, they might be the hottest team right now. Texans and Jaguars, they've been pretty darn good. But you're right, the Dolphins have really flipped the switch. Early in the season, it looked like Mike McDaniels was going to be fired after 4 weeks, and now they're right back in the hunt. So this is a huge game for both these teams. But like I said, I don't think Tua or this team is going to be able to perform in the 25-degree weather on Monday night.
No.
I don't see it happening. But then the week after, you have the Detroit Lions, which I don't see a chance of them winning. And then you have the Browns and the Ravens to wrap it up. And I think Week 18 versus the Ravens will be for the division. As big as this last game was, with them getting that game on them, I don't think it's going to really mean anything in a couple weeks.
No.
I mean,
I
it
think
helps.
You look at the schedules, and I do think that it obviously helps a lot, and it gives them, at this point, the tiebreaker, but obviously there's another game. But,
Mhm.
I mean, the Ravens play the Bengals, then the Patriots, then the Packers. Those are 3 rough games. When the Bengals have Joe Burrow back, they just went toe-to-toe with the Bills.
Yeah. And beat
They
the
play the
Ravens.
Patriots, who we just mentioned, have... yeah, that's
Been
right.
hot.
Also, 2 weeks ago, the Bengals beat the Ravens. They play the Patriots, who we mentioned are on a huge winning streak right now, one of the best teams in the league. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. I'm right on that, right?
Yeah.
Then they play the Packers, who also look really, really good.
Mhm.
And the Packers just had a huge win, right?
Against
I'm
the
not
Bears.
mistaken in that. They're now the lead in their division.
Yep.
Then they finish that their schedule with, again, another game against the Steelers. Interesting that the Ravens have to play, in 6 weeks they play 4 division games. I hate when the league does that. Why do they not spread out the divisional games more?
They set it up to be dramatic because a week 1 divisional game, that
Yeah.
it doesn't mean as much. We need that at least week 7 for the first divisional game. Maybe week 6, 5. We
I
need these
think-
teams to get familiar, know what the other teams are doing, so then when they finally meet up, they both
They're
got a
playing
good
their best
idea.
football.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think a division game's too pivotal for your season to be played in week 1.
Yeah.
I do agree. I think that my father has always had an issue with the NFL scheduling, which I think I've talked about on this show before, but he said which I think I agree with him. Like, they should have specific weeks throughout the year that like every team this week is playing a division game.
Yeah.
And then it's
division
like,
week.
so then it's also laid out to where it's like you don't have to play 3 division games in a row, whereas another team, has them a little more spread out.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's even to be like the last time that the Browns played a division game was 2 weeks ago, and also the last time that the Steelers played a division game was 2 weeks ago, and now they're playing each other.
Yeah.
I kind of think that it would be a good way to mix things up and make, every, different weeks more
For sure.
interesting and make more movement in the divisions.
Yeah, but I feel like at least this season, like I feel like those divisional games are what has made me tune in every single week, because a lot of these matchups just haven't been great on paper or like the product on the field. So like every week I look at the schedule, I'm like, oh, that's a big one. That's going to be huge for the division. Like this
that
week,
is true.
Bills versus Patriots at 1 p.m. That will be one I'll be tuning into. Chargers versus Chiefs. That'll be one I'll be tuning into. The rest of these games, I don't care too much about.
Yeah, maybe not every week or not certain weeks, but like every week one division play or one or two division play. You know what I mean? Like the AFC North, they have weeks 4, 8, so you know what I mean? These are the weeks that they're going to play their division games, and then
Kinda like that.
Mix it up like that. I
Kinda
think
like that.
I think that maybe I should get up in that NFL scheduling office.
I think so. I think
maybe
that
they
might
should
be all
just pay
AI
me.
now.
I think maybe the NFL should just pay me already.
There are some interesting games this week, some interesting lines. The Packers are 2.5-point favorites over the Broncos, a team who's rattled off 10 wins in a row. This is in Denver as well. The Packers did look really good last week against the Bears, but that line is a little fishy for me.
People have said that the Broncos as well as the Patriots might be frauds.
Me included.
Yeah?
I'm totally on board with that. Like I said, the Steelers, I don't think they're a good team, but going up against both those teams, I'd feel good about the Steelers winning.
I mean, you look at the Broncos' schedule overall, I think that was that this year? Hold
Cupcake
on.
schedule?
Yeah, I think that they might have a cupcake schedule this year.
That's
And
shocking.
also, am I looking at the right year or not? I'm very confused here. Hold on.
Let me find this Broncos schedule.
I think that I heard a stat the other day that like their total winning margin on the year like is only 21 points or something like that. Like they beat the Raiders this past week only by a touchdown. They beat the the Commanders the week before by 1 point. They beat the Chiefs the week before that only by 3. Beat the Raiders the week before that only by 3. Before that, the Texans only by 3. Beat the Cowboys by 20. Beat the Giants, again, not a good team, only by 1. Beat the Jets, not a good team, only by 2. Beat the Eagles, who are a good team, back in October by 4.
That was a big win.
They blew out the Bengals 28-3. They lost to the Chargers by 3. They lost to the Colts by 1. They beat the Titans only by a score. There's a lot of close games in here, and especially close games to teams that it looks like they shouldn't be as close as they are with.
Yeah. But the biggest thing is the defense. Like from what I hear, I don't know if what's like the most points they let up there. It didn't seem like there's anything really over 20-some points.
They let up 32 to the Giants, and that was when Jameis Winston was balling.
Mhm.
That was the Jameis Renaissance. That's the most they've given up. It was against, never mind. That's last year. Like I said, it was against Jameis, who you can never count out. Like he's just such a dog.
But as far as like points against, the Broncos are up there this year with the Texans. They've only allowed 235 points while scoring 308. They haven't lost a game at home, and yet they're underdogs this week in their own turf against the Packers.
In Mile High. Packers are rolling right now. Packers have a lot to play for. I do think they have a little bit more to play for, probably than the Broncos at this point. Considering that the Broncos are 11-2, they're in the lead in their division by at least 2 games, whereas the Packers kind of needed a little bit more. They're in the lead of their division, but only by a half a game over the Bears.
It's that tie.
We'll see. I think that the Packers are doing a lot of really good stuff right now, though. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And
Christian Watson had himself a breakout game.
Christian Watson,
when he's healthy, is super talented, super fun to watch.
he's one of the most up and down players in the league.
Yeah,
Where it's
maybe
either
the
like,
most.
yeah, it's either like nothing going on or like a 60-yard touchdown that he makes look really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just like, he looks untouchable some games, and then he's just not seen for weeks at a time. But I think if this sticks through and they can get the same production out of him the rest of the season, I think they're going to be tough to beat. Because that wide receiver room's already nasty, but I think Christian Watson, like at his best, is the best receiver on that team.
Yeah. And then like they have such a deep receiver room too that I think that everyone always kind of shits on the Packers for being like they don't have a number 1, they have a bunch of number 3 receivers or number 2 receivers. I'm totally fine with that. Like any one of them can hurt you any game. Like you just said, Christian Watson can go off. You look at their Thanksgiving game, Dontavian Wicks had 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards. Like he looked awesome. Romeo Doubs had 3 touchdowns earlier in the year. Jaden Reed's hurt now, but like when he's in, he's obviously a really big threat. I think he broke his collarbone earlier in the year. Matthew Golden, same thing. Like if he's the guy who's on, like he's a dangerous playmaker.
Yeah.
So I think that too many people like discount their receiver room for that reason, that they like think they don't have a number 1 receiver, but like I think it's receiver room by committee, which I think works for everyone except for fantasy owners, in all honesty.
Because wide receivers, it might be the most up and down position. Maybe running backs, but you need these guys who, you got to ride the ebbs and flows. You can't just have one guy. You need people who are going to step up when the other guy isn't at his best.
The best receivers in the league are the ones that just end up being consistent. And it's because it's really, really hard to be consistent as a receiver. Like you look at like a guy like T. Higgins is someone that I think of, like where I'm thinking fantasy wise because he was on my fantasy team for a while, but like some games he'll score 2 touchdowns and he'll look absolutely unstoppable, like he did this past week against the Bills in the snow. Actually, had 2 touchdowns, made like a great one-handed catch. Looks like he's just unguardable. And then other games he'll have like 3 targets and just not really get involved that much.
Yeah,
it's really hard to be a consistent contributor at wide receiver.
It is, and that's why
there's so many other things contributing to your performance at receiver.
Sure. Like you've seen like Justin Jefferson, the quarterback performance has really hurt him, but he still finds ways to get yards every single game.
Yeah, well he's different. He's Justin Jefferson. He's one of the best in the league.
But guys like Devontae Smith, you need on your team to match that A.J. Brown. You need a consistency guy to match the explosive talent. And I think that's when their offense works the best.
Speaking of Jefferson and the Vikings, how about 9? He's back.
Is he?
31-0 win over the Commanders in this one.
Didn't watch.
J.J. McCarthy, 16 for 23, 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not really amazing numbers, but I think that's exactly what they need for him, is to throw the ball like 25 times a game tops, get under 200 yards, but a couple of touchdowns, like game manager type. I think that's exactly what they need from him. They're 5-8 now. They're technically not eliminated from playoff contention, but I don't think this is going to be the year for the Vikings.
J.J. McCarthy is Kenny Pickett 2.0, which
think
could be good in this system. Like you just need to deliver.
I think Kenny Pickett could do very well with the Vikings.
And apparently he's supposed to be starting this week against the Eagles.
Pickett?
Yeah, he's playing against his former team.
Week.
And he looked good, which was also like really fishy. Did you see the end of that game?
With the field goal when they were down like what?
They're
10?
down 10 points and there's like 20 seconds left. And for some reason they're running up the
spread,
field.
huh?
They're spiking the ball and then they kick a field goal with time expiring to lose by 7 points. Like why not?
What was the spread on that game?
And that was to give the Raiders to cover the spread, and it was also to hit the over as well.
It's also interesting that it's the team that's based out of Vegas.
Yeah.
Who's got their hands in that pie? Whose fingers are in that pie, huh?
I mean, I think that Vegas plays a role, but you can't make it that egregious. You can't make it that obvious for everybody.
You never know. What are they going to say? I mean, like, you can ask them about it, at the end of the day.
But it makes fans, like, stop watching. Like, it makes me less interested in watching the NFL.
Why?
Because if it's a rigged product, what am I wasting my time and energy on?
I don't know. I think that...
You don't think anyone made a call being like, hey, we need 3 points for the over and for the Raiders to cover the spread?
I think that that's a conspiracy theorist take.
I don't want to believe it, but that seemed too insane.
I think that that's a little too outlandish for the NFL.
I don't know. I was always on the same page as you. Like, it's just nonsense conspiracy, but that game was fishy.
It is fishy, but at the end of the day, too, like when you look at hiring or firing a coach a lot of times, or like you look at the numbers and it's like we scored this many points a game. Like
Pete Carroll's
a field
80
goal's
years
not
old.
gonna hurt you overall. Like at the end, I
Doesn't
don't know
affect the outcome of the game though. So what are we
how many
kicking this
seconds
field
were
goal
left when
for?
they kicked the field goal.
I think it was while time was expiring.
I don't know. Me as a football guy who wants to, like if I'm playing, I'm going to play until the last whistle and I'm going to play until the clock hits 000s. Like I want to score as much as I can and I want to make it, close and like whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, the other part of it was that
It is tough also too when they're like a 2-3 win team and it's like even if they did somehow win that game, like it's not going to really make a difference on their season, but I don't know.
But I mean, I agree that like you should play to win. You should play as hard as you can to the very end. But it wasn't just the Raiders. It was the referees who threw a flag with 4 seconds left and got them into field goal position. And it was with time expiring. The spread for the game was 8.5 for Denver. They ended up winning 24-17.
Wow.
Not a good look. Not a good look for the league. But yeah, I'm with you. I really hope it's not.
You think Goodell's lying in his pockets with DraftKings money?
He might not even be involved. There might be over his head. Who knows?
Was it a home game for the Raiders? Was it in
I
Vegas?
think it was. Yeah, it was.
You think the mob was on the sidelines?
It's saying like you better cover the spread.
Yeah, getting into Carroll's ear.
Maybe. Raiders plus 8.5 surprised me though that like they'd want that so bad. Why would all the money be on Broncos minus 8.5?
Because everyone thought the Broncos are going to blow them out because they've been such a. I mean, they're 11-2.
Yeah,
More
but
people probably, and the Raiders stink. They lost to the Browns. People probably bet. I mean, if the books wanted anything, they would want the Raiders to cover. I would say the majority of bets were probably on Broncos minus 8.5.
the under, I guess. Just weird stuff.
A little fishy for you,
A
huh?
little bit. I mean, I've stopped betting on the NFL, especially this
too.
year because it's been so hard to.
It's been weeks for me since I've bet.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. I want to like stop gambling forever, but I know that won't be the case.
I was throwing a little money on some baccarat.
Yeah,
Yeah, feeling good on that.
betting the dealer.
Oh, no, always player. Got to bet the player.
Really?
Got to bet the player. I'm betting on me, baby.
I go
I
with
bet
the
on me.
vibes.
I'm not betting on someone to beat me.
Never bet on the tie. Isn't that one of them?
Yeah, you can bet on the tie, or you can bet on pairs, stuff like that. It's fun. It's a
Big money.
apparently baccarat has the best odds of any casino
That's
game.
what I've heard.
And I was also playing like the live one where I saw the dealer, so it wasn't just computer numbers
Yeah.
and stuff. So that had me feeling a little bit better about myself. But made $4, no big deal.
Heck yeah.
Thank you guys. Again, I don't know why I keep saying thank you. Stick with us through the final break right here on WSR Radio.
What's the difference between the shirt you're currently wearing and the one that I am? Well, both do their job of concealing us from the outside world and social boundaries. But one little black swoosh makes yours cost nearly double. That red rectangle may not change how warm you are, but it certainly changes the price tag. The truth is, nobody cares about the details. Get to the point with GenericClothes.com. Have a laugh at the big brand clothing company's expense with shirts that simply say sports team, political statement, music band, and more. A shirt for any occasion and the perfect gift. GenericClothes.com.
Welcome back to Behind Enemy Lines right here on WSRR Radio, brought to you by WSRR Radio. Check us out on WSRRadio.com. We got some really good merch drops on there. I mentioned it last week, but there is some stuff to really get you into the holiday spirit. Some
Sweaters.
some Christmas sweater style shirts and stuff on there that you just can't miss out on right now. You pull up to your Christmas party in a Behind Enemy Lines sweater.
You're gonna be like, what's that?
If you pull up to your Christmas party and you're single in that, you're not leaving single.
That's
Let me
right.
tell you that much.
You're going home with 2 ladies on both arms.
Minimum.
probably.
At least. In this last couple of minutes, we're going to be talking about the college football playoff. the seedings that happen, some interesting teams getting in, some interesting teams not making the cut. James Madison and Tulane at the 12 and 11 seeds, and Notre Dame is notably the number one team that did not make the cut.
Mm-hmm.
Dom, I want to hear as someone who grew up supporting Notre Dame a bit,
Yeah.
I want to hear your take on it.
Well, I do think they get a lot of unfair advantages.
Yeah.
But I do think for the product of college football, I think it's better that Notre Dame is in this. I think there's also other teams, not just Notre Dame, that would have made this better. But like I've heard a lot, like the games have to matter. They have to mean something. But are we really getting the 12 best teams in this college football playoff? I don't think so. I think the only answer is to make a 16-team playoff where then you get Texas, you get Notre Dame, you get Vanderbilt, maybe Oklahoma. There's a lot of other teams that could make this more interesting, more captivating than James Madison versus Oregon, where Oregon's probably going to win by 30 points.
Yeah, unfortunately, they probably are. Tulane also playing against Ole Miss, like who's the number 6 seed.
Yeah.
That
one could be interesting, though.
I'm up and down on it because, like, I think that the whole reason to expand to a 12-team playoff is to help make anyone, like, it makes it so that anyone in the nation has a shot at winning a national title.
Yeah.
You got to let some of the group of 5 teams in, or else it's kind of like, what's the point of them playing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like in the FCS playoffs, in D2 and D3, anyone from any conference has a chance to win the national championship.
Yeah.
Same thing in basketball. Like, it's not as good of a shot because, you know, you have to win your conference if you're in like the A10 in basketball or something like that to make it into the tournament, but everyone has a shot.
Yeah.
That's why I really like the fact that they got Tulane and James Madison in there. It's also like we're getting different teams every year. It's not going to be the same 12 teams, which I like. But I do think that if that's the idea, which I think it is, and I think it should be, they do need to expand and have it laid out to say, like, these are the things you need to do to make it into the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
you need to win your conference or be the second team in your conference, or like you need to either win your conference or everyone who wins 11 games or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
They need to lay it out better.
Yeah, because at the end of the year, every year, teams are pissed.
Yes.
Because it's
And
not
like
clear.
in this one, Notre Dame being like, well, we're better than Miami, and Miami made it in and we didn't. It's like, well, you lost to them. Like, that's the reason you play the games. That's
Yeah.
my number one thing when Notre Dame fans are mad right now, because they're like, well, like, why is Miami in over us? It's like, well, you can't, it's tough to put those two teams side by side and be like, well, Notre Dame's better. It's like, but they lost. That's why you
Yeah.
play football games.
But it was so early in the season.
Yes,
You
but
play a full season to prove something that you can overcome some of those losses.
it's early in the season, but like, it's still in the season.
Yeah. No, I agree that the games have to mean
Like,
something.
if that's like saying, well, we played them week 2, so it doesn't matter. Who cares that we started the season 0-4? We've won our last 8 games. Like, now we're a better team than we were at the beginning of the season. It's like, yeah, it's too late.
Yeah.
That's like in the NFL, like, you don't just not count the first 5 weeks because they started winning. Like, that's why the NFL, every single game matters.
Mhm.
And like, that's something that people have argued about this new format too, is they're like, now the game doesn't matter as much because both teams are going to get in anyway.
Yeah.
Like they said that about the conference championship, or they said that about a big game I think it was when Alabama and Georgia played last year in the regular season. People were like, it's not going to matter now because they're both going to make it in anyway.
Yeah.
But
if the games matter so much, then why Alabama losing to a 5-6 Florida State team? Why does that not mean
yeah,
anything?
that is
Because
the
if you
one
lose to
argument against
Miami,
it.
you lost to a playoff team. Alabama, they lost to one of the worst teams in the ACC.
Yeah. I do think that there needs to be it's also flawed because this 12-team playoff was built for a Power 5 conference and a Group of 5 conference. Now, with the Pac-12 being like basically non-existent, it's basically a Power 4 conferences and then the Group of 5 and then the Pac-12, who has, like, this past year they had 2 teams in it.
Yeah.
I think that they need to go back to having 5 power conferences, and then they need to work something out to where it's the first 2 teams in each conference and the winner of the group of 5 conferences or something. It just needs to be laid out better to where there's there's a finite way to qualify to be in the playoff.
Yeah. I think last year, though, the bracket was more captivating. I mean, the worst teams that you had in there was SMU, who was pretty darn good. You had teams like Boise State and Arizona State getting bye weeks. Clemson was the 12 seed. I don't know. If you're going off vibes, you just got to go with the best 12 teams. And James Madison and Tulane are not probably top 25 team in college football.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at a playoff game and you see that the spread is minus 21.5 for Oregon and minus 17.5 for Ole Miss against Tulane, like, it does kind of take you out of it a little bit. But how awesome would it be if James Madison beats Oregon? Or how
they found
awesome
a way.
would it be if Tulane beats Ole Miss? Like, that's the thing, is that, like, everyone, I do, like, how likely is that going to happen? Probably not very. But, like, if it does happen, it's going to be awesome. So, like, why not? Let's give them the shot at least. I think it's kind of sick.
For sure. And even if those games don't turn out well, it's not like it's much of a difference from last year because only one of the games in the playoff last year was a one-score game, and that was Penn State versus Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. Outside of that, they were all blowouts for the most part. So if we can get good games, I won't complain ever again about the seeding. Like, maybe they know what they're doing because last year, I mean, just the idea of it being the first playoff, that was cool, but the games didn't supplement the hype.
And again, I do think, like, going back to that year, I feel like we had this argument where I'm like, they can only do so much seeding wise. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, if it's not a good game, it's not their fault.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want the committee to do? It's like, well, you could put any two teams out there, and the chance of them, if it being a close game every time, if they play 100 times, like, it's not everyone's going to be a one-score game.
Yeah, for sure. I think this year, though, we'll have some pretty good games. In the first round, Miami, Texas A&M. Texas A&M is only 3.5-point favorites.
That's going to be a really good one. And then Alabama and Oklahoma is going to be a really good one.
Yep.
Oklahoma beat Alabama earlier in the year, did they not?
They did. And now Alabama's 1.5-point favorite on them. That should be a really good game.
Yeah, it's in Oklahoma, in Norman. So we'll see that one.
That's big.
I like that Texas Tech got a bye. They're a fun team. I think that'll be interesting. Georgia gets the bye. Ohio State and Indiana both get byes, which I think should probably have happened, a one-score game. Ohio State loses in the Big Ten championship to Indiana, but, like, and people are like, oh, I don't know now. Ohio State, maybe they're not the juggernaut. Like, neither team was playing for anything in that game, though, in all honesty.
That's
like,
true.
Obviously, as an Ohio State fan, you wanted them to win and have a Big Ten title, but, like, neither team was really, really playing for anything. Let's be honest.
I mean, I think we're gonna look back on this game like last year when Ohio State Michigan played.
Yeah,
they got their butt whooped, but that wasn't a game that Ohio State really needed.
Yeah,
the games that they need to win are coming up, and I think they're gonna roll through this bracket.
Yeah, I think they're gonna turn it on and go into a different
But
gear.
Indiana's fun. Fernando Mendoza.
I love Mendoza.
Pretty fun. His post-game interview was pretty awesome.
If Shedeur looked really, really bad, I would say I want Mendoza and Brown and Orange.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
And then
they're flipping champs.
And then the
I'm going
Browns.
to stop swearing and start saying flipping.
Flipping, I like that.
I love him that much.
The Browns, though, they'd end up drafting Alberto Mendoza.
The backup on
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah.
They would accidentally draft his younger brother.
Yeah.
That would, I mean, I'd
Who
take
also
him
looked
too.
pretty good.
That would be that one handoff. Yeah, that was
He
sick.
looked great.
That was sick. Thank you guys for listening to Behind Enemy Lines right here on WSRR Radio. Stick with us through the end of the year. NFL playoffs coming up. College football playoff breakdowns. We got it all right here on WSRR Radio. Have a good one.
Peace. Thank you.
The preceding program was a sponsored production. The views, claims, and ideas expressed may not represent those of WSRR Radio.